Welcome to the official Half Street High Heat Top 100 MLB Players. We had the members of Half Street High Heat create a list of their top 100 players. Then we took the average placing of each player from all of the lists to create one mega list, and that's what I'll be discussing today. Quick disclaimer, these are not opinions, these are facts. In all seriousness, ranking 100 players is not easy, and there is no right way to do it. We had people rank their top 100 based on stats, or winning, or projections, or vibes. So this list should reflect each different way of thinking about players, we hope. I'll also be talking about these players in groups of 10, so this video won't end up being 2 hours long. So, let's begin with the bottom 10 of the top 100 MLB players. The 91 through 100 spots are generally reserved for those players who have had some question marks but are still highly skilled players. Brandon Nimmo fits that bill at number 100. Nimmo is an extremely talented player who just cannot stay healthy. Nimmo has only played in one full season in his career in 2018, and he was worth 4.5 FWAR, which put him in the top 50 in FWAR for that season. Last year he only played 93 games, but check out the numbers. 292, 401, 437 for a 137 WRC plus from a center fielder is elite. Josh Bell at 98. Yes, we are a Washington Nationals-based channel to an extent, and maybe there's some bias to put Bell in the top 100, but it's not unwarranted when you're trying to project for 2022. Josh Bell had elite advanced metrics in just about every hitting category. He hits the ball hard with consistency, and he walked 11% of the time during the 2021 season. Unfortunately, over 50% of his batted balls were ground balls, which capped his potential somewhat. If he gets that under control, watch out. Aaron Nola is at 91, and if you only look at the surface level stats, you may be a bit shocked. Looking at his 2021 ERA may fool you into believing he shouldn't be on this list, but then you look at his FIP and you realize the dude isn't getting any help from his defense. Normally, when a pitcher has that large of a discrepancy between his ERA and his FIP, you can expect a bounce back the next year. The problem is that the Phillies made themselves actively worse on defense this offseason, so I don't know what to think. Guess Nola will just have to strike everyone out. This group features some veterans coming off of injury-plagued seasons, Clayton Kershaw at 88 and Chris Sale at 86, who we ranked before his most recent rib injury that's going to sideline him for quite a while. Kershaw has had back and bicep injuries his whole career, but 2021 saw his elbow flare up. He still posted solid results when he played last year, but games played and innings pitched are starting to tank his value a bit. I think it's time to start using Kershaw as a rate-based pitcher, similar to how Corbin Burns was used last season. Around 150, 160 innings would be more than enough. As for Sale, he had Tommy John surgery and missed the 2020 and most of the 2021 seasons. When he played last year, he wasn't great, but the sample size was small. Unfortunately, he's now been set back indefinitely due to a rib injury, so it's tough to see him as a top 100 player in 2022 now. Joey Gallo at 81 may be controversial whether you think he should be ranked higher or not ranked at all. He's a divisive candidate due to his extreme hitting profile. Despite a batting average of just 199 in 2021, his OPS was over 800. He has an extremely high walk rate, and he nearly hit 40 bombs in 2022. Gallo is also a great defender with an absolute cannon on his right shoulder. He's a difficult player to rank because of how high his ceiling is, combined with how low his floor can go. But his defense and on-base skills should keep him valuable no matter what his batting average ends up as. Kyle Schwarber comes in at number 80, and he's an interesting story. He came up as a rookie and played really well, had a terrible injury at the beginning of the next season. Then he comes back for the World Series as a DH/pinch hitter, and he hit over 400 with a 500 on base after missing over a full season's worth of games. He started to really come into his own in 18 and 19 before 2020 came along and ruined his Cubs tenure. The Nats gave him a one-year prove-it deal, and he parlayed a great season into a fat contract with Philly. His combination of power and on-base skill is too great to ignore, even if he's not the best defender. Chris Taylor is at 78, and I just want to point out how difficult it is to rank utility players. WAR is the most common way to quantify a player's value, but when it comes to utility players, they get hurt in that department for playing so many positions. Chris Taylor was only worth 2.6 BWAR in 2021, and there is no doubt he has much more value than that. It's very rare for a guy to play 6 different positions throughout a season and still hit as well as Chris Taylor does. He's been a consistently above average hitter with a ton of versatility for the past 4 seasons and certainly deserves to be on this list. Teoscar Hernandez is one of the more underrated players in MLB right now. He's seemingly getting lost in the Blue Jays shuffle behind Vladdy, Springer, and Bo Bichette, but this guy rakes and he has made huge strides in the past 2 seasons. Granted, they were playing in the MLB equivalent to Williamsport, but he's got great gap power and he can hit the ball all over the yard. He ranked highly in many advanced metrics like xWOBA and xSlug, so there's reason to believe he could repeat this season outside of Dunedin. I'm literally screaming and crying right now. Today, my 8-month-old son asked me, "Dad, the haters are saying Christian Yelich is washed. Is that true?" I was stunned, but I told him, "No, son. The haters are using poor logic and judging a great player harshly for a pandemic-shortened season and a season where he played through injury." He paused and then said, "But wouldn't that make the haters worse than Lemicki?" "Yes, son," I replied. One of the realest moments of my life, for real. There, I just wrote the next Twitter copy pasta. Have at it, people. Brandon Crawford? What the hell are you doing in this video? Brandon Crawford is a 35-year-old shortstop who had never slugged higher than .462 in a full season, and whose career average slugging percentage nearly starts with a 3. And then he slugged .522 in 2021. Crawford's glove has always been elite, but it looked like his bat would see him fizzle out of the league after 2019. But his swing changes may have extended his career into his late 30s, and it's why he's number 66 on the list. At number 63 is Brewers ace starter Freddie Peralta. The Brewers have 3 starting pitchers who all strike out over 10 batters per 9 innings and are all in the top 10% in hard hit percentage allowed. Most teams have 0 of those pitchers on their roster. Peralta is the next one of these Brewers pitchers to have a potential super season after Woodruff and Burns have both established themselves as stars. In terms of pure stuff, there aren't many guys who have a better fastball slider combo. They're damn near unhittable and the stats prove it. If he can limit walks a bit more and develop his changeup, this Brewers rotation is going to get even scarier. Yasmani Grandal had one of the funniest looking slash lines of any player in the 2021 season. 240, 420, 520. That's just the perfect stat line to make the Boomers mad. Yeah, besides Joey Gallo's. Grandal has always had good plate discipline, but last season he just kind of refused to swing at pitches out of the strike zone. And when he did swing the bat, he launched baseballs, finishing with a 157 OPS+. As a catcher, that's the craziest part of his batting stats, is that he also plays the most difficult position on the field. Truly remarkable. Lance f***ing Lynn, baby. Sorry for the language, but I say that word to honor our beefy bearded bear of a man. Lance Lynn is the perfect example of a pitcher who just doesn't give a f***. He throws over 80% fastballs, and he finished top 3 in Cy Young voting last year. He just attacks the zone and tells the hitter to beat him. And they can't. Listen, I could try and tell you who this guy is, but how about I just show you?
Out there. He did, and he gunned him down. Oh, Lance Lynn is amped. He said, "Let's go." Oh.
Lindor is in a weird spot right now because he's clearly an elite talent with some of the best seasons from a shortstop in the last decade already under his belt before age 30, but the stats have just been underwhelming. From the second half of 2019 to the end of 21, he's been just a slightly above average hitter. I mean, that's fine since his defense is elite at shortstop, but this guy's a better hitter than these stats indicate. Hopefully he'll get it going now that he's gotten a year of experience in New York. I know I just talked about a White Sox player, but there's no way I could just skip over TA7, baby. In terms of pure entertainment value, Tim Anderson is at the top of the list. He plays with energy and confidence at all times. He has speed, power, and a slick glove at shortstop, and he lives for the big moments. His approach at the plate is unique in modern baseball. With a 4% walk rate, he's looking to hit and hit often. Balls in play are fun, and Tim Anderson does that a lot. Hopefully we can get a fully healthy season out of this guy so he can truly take the next step. No, I don't know why Kris Bryant signed with the Rockies, and no, I do not understand how more teams weren't in on him even at that price. But either way, KB is gonna rake at Coors. Kris Bryant's stock has been slowly falling for a few seasons now, but there's no denying his versatility and ability with the bat. In his early days with the Cubs, he burst on the scene and won Rookie of the Year and MVP in his first 2 seasons. While he's been trending down a little bit, he's still a great player with a high ceiling. But even at his floor, Kris Bryant is still a valuable player who gets on base and hits for power. There's plenty of young talent in this section of the list, but I'd rather talk about an old head, Paul Goldschmidt. Year in and year out, this guy gives you 30 homers, he gives you 100 ribeyes, and he probably gives you a Gold Glove at first base, nearly every year for the past decade. He finished 6th in MVP voting last season as a 33-year-old, and there's really no indication that he's slowing down. 2 or 3 more seasons with a 120 WRC+, and Paul Goldschmidt's a Hall of Famer. Not first ballot, but he'll get in. And we'll round out this segment with some young guns on the rise with Luis Robert, Wander Franco, and Kyle Tucker. In my opinion, all 3 of these players are dark horse MVP candidates for 2022. Robert and Franco both played a shortened season in 21, Robert due to injury, and Franco was called up by the Rays after the All-Star break. While the numbers are from a limited sample size, they're still ridiculous. They were both 3.5 WAR players in less than half a season each. Both players are 5-tool guys with high ceilings. Now we just need to see a bigger sample size. On the other side of the coin, we've got a good sample size for Kyle Tucker, and all he's done is become one of the better hitting outfielders in the game at age 25, and there's no reason why he can't continue to improve. His ability to hit for high power is only eclipsed by his ability to avoid strikeouts, as he slugged .557 with only a 16% K rate. All 3 of these players are must-watch baseball. Do not forget the Biebs. Shane Bieber was injured last year, which is why you didn't see him getting any Cy Young buzz near the end of the last season, but we're not trying to make the mistake of underrating an ace pitcher just because he plays in Cleveland. And you know, if I'm being honest here, I ranked him at number 14 on my list, so when he's inevitably a top 30 player this season, I get to take most of the credit. He has a 5-pitch mix, and all 5 of them are effective, especially his lethal spiked knuckle curveball, which is just about the only pitch in baseball that consistently gets swings and misses when it bounces 10 feet in front of the plate. I loved Matt Olson when he was in Oakland, and as a baseball fan, I still do. But why did he have to go to the Braves? Bias aside, Matt Olson has established himself as one of the best all-around players at the first base position. Last year, he slashed .271, .371, .540 in the Coliseum, where home runs go to die. He still managed to hit 39 of them. In Atlanta, a much more hitter-friendly ballpark, he's probably got 45. While he's generally a more pull-centric hitter when it comes to home runs, he's still got power to all fields. In fact, he hit more doubles to the opposite way last season. His approach plays in any ballpark, and he's most likely going to see an increase in his slugging percentage, which is already high. Hey, want to see the hardest hit ball of the 2021 season?
And a 1-0 to Machado. Driven to left. It's back and it's gone. Line drive home run. 2-run shot for Manny Machado, his 22nd of the year.
I think I've mentioned this twice now on this channel, but for the final time before the season starts, Manny Machado was unlucky in 2021. By F-WAR, Machado was ranked 47th, but a deeper dive into the numbers reveals that he's due for a rebound in 2022. Here are Manny Machado's expected batting stats. If the outcome is taken away, his batting average would have been in the top 6% of the league, his slugging percentage would have been in the top 10% of the league, and his xWOBA would have been the top 9% of the league. His actual stats looked like this. There's just no way he could be that unlucky again, right? Watch out for Machado to have a big season. Max Scherzer's too old to be an elite pitcher. No! You know, I'm probably less high on Scherzer right now than most people, and I still think he's deserving of this spot. Despite the fact that he just keeps getting older, he also is getting better somehow. After the trade that sent him from Washington to LA, Max Scherzer found his form and pitched to a sub-2 ERA in 68 innings pitched. He struck out 89 batters in that time, while only walking 8, and then he signed a bazillion-dollar contract with the Mets. The guy is still pitching to a Cy Young level, and he'll probably be a first-ballot Hall of Famer. Skipping straight to the top 5, we have Ronald Acuna Jr. There's almost no doubt that this guy would have been in the MVP conversation had he not suffered a torn ACL, and while that's a very unfortunate injury, his recovery is seemingly going well. And as baseball fans, we need Acuna on the field. He has the presence of a true superstar in this league. He commands the batter's box, he steals at will, he makes incredible plays in the field, he's got a rocket launcher on his right shoulder, and he can hit the baseball very far. There's not really anything he can't do. Except pitch. Luckily, our number 4 choice may or may not be kind of good at throwing a baseball, Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom is not human. He does things with a baseball that should not be possible, like consistently throwing over 100 miles per hour as a starting pitcher, or spinning a nice casual 95 mile per hour slider. The numbers don't even make sense. While he only threw 92 innings last season, they were some of the most well-pitched innings in the history of this league, and that's no hyperbole. He was a 5-WAR player, and he didn't even get close to reaching the halfway point in the season. He had a whip of 0.554. He struck out 14 batters per 9 innings while only walking 1. The numbers are one thing, but my favorite part of watching deGrom work last year was that he would just shove his fastball down people's throats. He threw nearly 60% four-seam fastballs, and opponents hit just 158 against it. He was basically a 2-pitch pitcher last season despite having a plus changeup and a plus curveball. In modern baseball, Jacob deGrom is the most dominant pitcher we've ever seen. Oh look, it's another alien. Shohei Ohtani had a historic 2021 season. Two-way players had disappeared from MLB altogether until Shohei Ohtani showed up and revived their value in one fell swoop. As a hitter, he slashed .257, .372, .592 with 46 homers. As a pitcher, he threw 130 innings with a 3.18 ERA and struck out 11 batters per 9 innings. Split those seasons into 2 separate players and they're both all-stars. He's doing both by himself. And he could have even been better. He struggled a bit after the All-Star break at the plate, and my theory is that he was just tired. I mean, think of it this way. Ohtani pitches and hits the entire first half, goes to Denver for the All-Star game, does the entire weekend, home run derby, starts the All-Star game on the mound, and here's the real energy drainer. He has to do double the media appearances of a normal player because he's from Japan, and the Japanese media loves him. And rightfully so. Look at this handsome lad. If he can in any way sustain this production, he'll take over as the face of baseball if he hasn't already. And at number 2, we have Juan Soto. That's right, even though we all love us some Juan Soto, we still couldn't put him at the number 1 spot because that's still reserved. However, for Juan Soto to be entering the conversation at age 23 is remarkable. His baseball IQ is so high at such a young age. Just listen to him talking about hitting mechanics in this interview.
Si es correr,
Si es un correr, ya tú tienes que buscarlo que empiece un poquito más para el medio, para que cuando rompa, no te rompa en la mano. Claro, cuando es correr viene a velocidad de una recta, claro, entonces tú tienes que ser más corto y más rápido. El te da más tiempo de verlo y golpearlo.
Yeah, so not only is he supremely talented and physically gifted, but he's also smarter than most pitchers he faces. This is the 2022 NL MVP. Book it. And finally, the number 1 player in Major League Baseball, Jim Salmon. Jim Salmon is really good at baseball. I don't know if you guys all knew that. It's knowledge that only us insiders have. I could spend hours looking at his baseball reference page. His stretch during the 17 through 19 seasons has to be one of the best 3-season stretches in the history of baseball. His career OPS is over 1,000, and he's played in 10 seasons. He's already a first-ballot Hall of Famer, and he's only 30, by the way. I know it feels like he should be older, but no, only 30. He could theoretically have 4 to 6 more elite seasons in him. Baseball gods, if you're out there, please let Jim Salmon stay healthy this year. And with that, our list is complete. Big thank you to everyone in Half Street High Heat for participating in these rankings. Ranking 100 players is not easy, like I said earlier, so there's no way we'll all have the same lists, but we hope you enjoyed the video regardless. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to the channel, and without further delay, Let's play ball!